Hi and welcome to Chatting Shit. I'm your host this week, Becca Chew, and I'm joined by Scotland's second favourite spectacle-wearing YouTube sensation, Specky Scotsman. I'm joined with a homeless guy we just found in Attleborough, Kev 8 foot 94848494, and we're joined by legendary former Bake Off presenter Sue Perkins. No, only kidding. It's my best friend, the Heart of Spice Night, J Gun 06. How are you, gents?
I'm very well,
A little
thank you.
disappointed.
Good
Why,
moment.
why are you disappointed?
Could you? Because you don't look like Sue in the slightest, or
No,
Mel, whichever one
no.
it is.
I shave and put a blonde wig on. I could be Mel.
No, but he
Fair
is
enough.
weird enough to be Noel Fielding.
I don't know if that's really an insult, to be honest.
I feel it's pretty cool, to be honest.
I would have thought with the Matt Lucas kind of thing I've got going on, maybe.
Yeah.
So the dusts of Ember are fading away. We are now into February, which means we were talking about the Naiad Cup. I'm pretty sure no one liked Ember on this call. Anyone liked Ember?
I did
No.
before Niantic fucked it up.
I enjoyed very, very small parts of it when I either did something epic or I won a close battle. That was about it.
But anyway,
That's it.
Naiad, much more diverse. And from what I can see, there's a lot more diversity in Mons. I can say diverse a couple more times if we need to. What's other people's thoughts on the cup?
I started off with intentions of doing a lot of practice, and for reasons I had no idea what they are. I've done very little, but I've really enjoyed what I've done.
I
Callum?
enjoy it.
Oh, Jamie, you enjoy it?
Yeah. I generally don't enjoy that many cups. I think after a little while I get a bit. But this one, it's quite fun. I've used about 4 different teams, and there's a lot of viable options this month.
Yeah,
Callum?
I'm about the same as Kev. I had intentions to do a lot more practice than I've done, but even just looking at teams just recently, a lot of diverse fun, a lot of Pokemon that I'm looking forward to using. That we've been sort of limited to with Ember. So yeah, no, looking forward to it.
Well, I've built 6 teams so far. I've enjoyed playing it. I started playing it last month, obviously with it being released part of the wave system that Silver introduced. And yeah, I'm finding it. There's a lot of variance within the teams, but there's a lot of similarities. And I think the similarities is what we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to go in PV poke order because that's the way I like to do things. I like to keep things in a nice uniform. So this week's meta bitch is Kev.
It is. Yes, I'm going to talk to you about Pokemon with Pokedex number 334, the humming Pokemon. And it's a beautiful Pokemon. Do you know, when this Pokemon is your friend, it will envelop you in its cotton cloud wings and look after you. It's so beautiful.
Is it called Dan?
It is, of course, Altaria. It feels bad, man. I've picked the most meta Pokemon to talk about, and everyone knows how much I hate running meta Pokemon. And I've done it. I've gone and done and picked Altaria. But I think Dragon has a lot of play in this meta, and there are a fair few dragons that are viable. And I have a little bit of a soft spot for Altaria from way back when I very first started to do PvP in 2020, like August, September time. It was still a viable option for GBL. And the number of times you would bring Altaria in and it would actually beat a Registeel, it was fantastic. I loved it. So it sort of has that little special place with me, Altaria. It obviously has quite a lot of weaknesses because it's a flying dragon and it really doesn't like ice type Pokemon. So how useful it will turn out to be, I don't know. The things like Whirlrain in this meta, my personal feeling when I've been building teams for this is I haven't even looked at using Whirlrain, so I don't know how common it's going to be to see ice type Pokemon, but
I think it's super common, and you'll see an ice type on every team. I think there's more ice types available than just Walrus. I think, do you know what? Lapras is actually a very good option here, but you will see ice.
Yeah, I haven't looked at using an ice or an ice water type, purely because I don't really enjoy using them, and so I
Says the
never
man
really.
picking Altaria.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. But the other thing with Altaria, right, is that I'm not a huge fan of things that have slow, clunky, like fast moves. I like 1-turn and 2-turn fast move Pokemon because they fit my play style nicely. They allow me to maneuver myself around how I want to. So, things that are running Ice Shard, 3-turn moves, fine. I'll use them, but they're not up there on my pecking order of things that I'm going to run. So, I think Altaria, it's ranked number 2 overall.
Number 1.
Is it
Been
number
updated.
1? Oh, it was number 2 when I wrote my cheat sheet.
Yeah, well, you've got to stay with the times, mate. It's number 1 at the moment.
Well, yeah.
Because Shadow Galv is now a thing, so things have changed.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single Joltik grunt all day, damn it.
It's not out till midnight tonight, mate. That's why you won't have seen one.
What?
It was last night.
Was it last night?
Yeah.
Oh. Keep my mouth shut then.
I haven't seen one anyway. You could easily have been correct there. But
it would be like Niantic to just get it wrong.
They fucked me over so many times, Lil. I wouldn't put it past them just to have put on my account no new shadows. I haven't seen a Ninetales jobby Vulpix either. But it is number 10 for stat product, which I assume hasn't changed on PV Poke. Dan's quickly going to check that for me now. It's dropped down to number 11.
It's
the stat products can't have changed. It's still number 10 for stat product. Very respectable. Got a bit of bulk to it, as we all know.
You've mentioned a bit of the losses, Kev. What's it actually beat?
It beats Swampert, Jellicent, Galvantula, Greedent, Pelipper. And that's the reason that I picked it, because I hate Toilet Duck. Anything that beats Toilet Duck deserves to be on your team and on everybody's team.
See, that's what I looked at as well, because everything I was looking at, the Toilet Duck was a big loss for everything I was looking at.
I mean, what you got to remember with the Toilet Duck is it's bait dependent. We were discussing it earlier, and I said I don't feel you need to bait anymore. But all the sims and it's the issue with PV Poke. No disrespect to PV Poke, but you can get yourself in a bait hole where you're not seeing the reality of things and how it should be. It's why Mantine is such a beast in every matter, really, that's available when it's not.
Bubble Beam,
Yay!
Yeah. It's like the two. Hey, look, I would 98% of matchups in the 2 versus 0 shields. Well done.
And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Let me just get my pen to scratch that off. Fucking stealing my stats.
But yeah, PV Poke's it's great, right? And it gives you a guide. But literally, for this cup, just check it, make sure it beats Toilet Duck, pick it in your 6. It doesn't really matter what Pokemon we talk about. That's kind of the rule. If it doesn't beat Pelipper, don't use it.
With going back to Altaria, that Dragon Breath is oppressive. I think you touched on that. Dragon Breath is just for sheer damage output, 1-turn fast move. It's very, very. And I always find that the animation for it, the fact you're seeing the breath sort of thing's quite confusing. And if you're looking on, if you've got a crap phone like a Samsung or something, it could probably look really kind of horrible and make it difficult for you to see. If you're using an iPhone, it might be a little bit better. But what charge moves are you looking at there? Are you looking Dragon Pulse or are you a Moonblast type of person?
So I prefer it with Moonblast. I actually did do the comparison with Dragon Pulse, and there's actually not a lot in it in this meta. You pick up a couple and you lose a couple, and in each shield scenario. I mean, they're very similar moves, right? They're both high energy, they're both high damage, and they're pretty much neutral against everything you're firing them at, or both super effective against whatever you're firing them at. So as long as you've got Sky Attack, you'll be fine.
I think with the Moonblast, I think with the chance to drop the opposing Pokemon's attack by one stage can really swing things in your favor.
I knew you'll be horny for the debuff.
Does the
I knew it.
debuff really happen though? Does it happen?
But does it even really matter if you're going to knock that Pokemon out anywhere? Do you even need the debuff?
No, that's if they shield, I guess it makes a difference. But
I think it's always something just to keep in the back of your mind that, you know what, it could happen and it could then change either how your opponent plays or how you play, depending on what their sort of either Altaria counter is. It might set you up later on down the line. If you switch in Altaria, they switch in their Walrein, you shield and get to a Moonblast and debuff, you might be able to farm it down instead of having to throw a charge move, things like that.
Yeah, no, I can see the point in that. I can see the point in that. So
that is a good point, because I actually haven't used Altaria in any of my practices yet. But my plan, if and when I do use Altaria, is that actually, for me, it looks like one of the better safe swaps.
I'd agree with you there. I think
in this meta, I don't think I'll be leading it, and I don't think I'll be using it as a closer either. I think it is literally there as your safe swap, because even against like Walrein, if you go in play the one shields, you still do a hefty chunk of damage with the Dragon Breaths and a Sky Attack. You know, it's
you leave it on what 65%.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing how many. Have you looked into how many Dragon Breath leads you would need to? So I'm just giving it 2 Dragon Breath leads.
I didn't look specifically at the.
It doesn't make any difference. I think you'd need
Ryan. Yeah, but I did
need a sickening amount,
because my plan was to use it as a safe swap. I did look at it against the meta Pokemon with a 2 Dragon Breath energy advantage, because you're pretty much always going to get 2 Dragon Breaths, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless your opponent is lightning fast and playing like God, you're going to get some energy. So in the zeros, if you have 2 Dragon Breath energy advantage, you win 74% of your matches.
That's really big numbers. That's
which is this is before the new shadows came out, so that might have changed. It might now be 72 because you've got Shadow Galv there or something. It has a hefty win percent, and if you're using it as a safe swap, you don't really want to be investing your 2 shields. You want to be playing the 1s or 0s so that you've got something for the end game saved up there. And if you look at it versus all Pokemon available with 2 Dragon Breaths advantage, you have an 88.2% win rate, which remains the same in the ones as well, with 2 Dragon Breaths advantage. So it is a pretty reasonable safe swap. I mean, there are some things that it loses hard, the Walrein, the Lapras, the Dugong, for example. But if you safe swap it in and they've got, if you know your opponent's packing like one of those 3, you probably don't bring it as your safe swap anyway, right? Like,
and if you do, you've got a big enough answer in the back.
Yeah, Yeah, you're putting all your eggs in one basket and a 2-shielded charmer in the back.
Speaking of in the back, what do you pair this with? I know you said you use it as a safe swap, but is an ideal partner for this? So, for instance, in that instance where you're talking about them potentially shape swapping a Walrein or a Lapras, do you pair it with, say, an Escav or something that can take down something that hard enough hits, or say a Charger Bug or something like that, which the electric will get around the ice waters?
Yeah, so I was looking at it when I was thinking about it, running it as a with the Charger Bug, but I'm going to be running bugs probably all month because I don't care about my rating and bugs are fun. I don't know. I kind of like Mew as well with it because you can use Mew as a utility knife, right? And you can stick whatever moves you want on it. So you can stick Wild Charge on to cover your Ice Water types and the Flying types, and it Toilet Duck again. Or you can stick Dragon Claw on there and you've got your Dragon coverage, or you can stick Dark Pulse on there and you can throw it at the Psychic types. So I think Mew as probably a lead to try and give you a winning position in the lead with your Altaria as your safe swap if you don't. Knowing that if you lose the lead with Mew and you can win switch with Altaria, Mew is probably going to win against whatever Pokemon C is in the back. So I probably wouldn't run it as an ABB team. I'd probably running this as an ABC and trying to make sure you cover your lead weaknesses with your third. Escav, yeah, I like Escav in Ultra League. I'm not a huge fan of it in Great League.
I think it has play in both leagues, and I think with the lack of fire here, it's one of the things I've been interested about Mew is running with Flame Charge or something like that, because there isn't an awful lot of fire courage. I know you can say Hypno does, but I feel Hypno's really not got a place here at all. I feel I find Hypno a lazy mon anyway to start with, but you've got there's probably only Mew with some sort of flame coverage.
There is one more.
There is one more.
Yeah. There's one fire type. That is quite big. Big teeny.
Yeah, that's not really a fire type, is it?
Yeah. But there's an actual other fire type as well. Delphox. Not saying they're any good, but they're there.
They're there. They are there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So before we move on, because we don't need this to be a feature-length episode. Callum, Jamie, do you have anything to say on Altaria?
Yeah, it hasn't crossed my path. It's not something I'll be using this month.
I've looked at it. We'll probably use it. I think it's just going to be super consistent on your team. Whatever your opponent brings, I think it will have some sort of play, unless they decide to run 6 steel type, or basically 6 steel types or 6 fairy types, basically. I think it'll be good.
Okay. I think it's going to be good. It's Altaria. It's always good. Whenever it's available, it's got a place. But moving on, we're going on to Jamie. And Jamie, what would you like to talk to us about?
As Kevin's talking about a dragon, I'd like to talk to you about another dragon. My pick 783 is Hackamore, the dragon fighting type. So I think it's a superior dragon in this. It beats its third evolution. It beats Altaria. It beats Mew. Beats Jellicent. Beats Pelipper. Beats Galv. Beats Charger Bug. They're the big hitters here. And it's got some losses, but who's going to use Walrein? Come on. Who's going to use Lapras and Mantine and Swampert and Hypno? Unless you call Callum. You're not going to use them. But it does what it needs to. it's a dragon that beats the other dragons. In the ones, it's only got 50%. In the zeros, it drops to 42. In the twos, it's 52. So it's very average across the board. But it is really, really quick. The dragon tails do hurt. And I think it's just a solid mon this month. Especially if you can build around it, build with it. I think dragon will be quite big. So I can't see it going overly wrong. Probably will, but I can't see how it will go wrong.
Bearing in mind how absolutely trash Brick Break is, would you consider running it with Dragon Pulse as well? Or would the fear
No.
be that you'd never get there?
No, you're never going to get there. And even if you do, you just take 2 Dragon Claws. I wouldn't worry about Dragon Pulse. For me personally, I
Fair
wouldn't
enough.
worry about it. I'd rather take the Brick Break and hit something like Lapras or something steel. Like, it's not going to do a massive amount of damage anyway. Just even if you can just chip away at it as you're going down, it gives whatever's coming in next in your team something to go at
So
rather
you're
than coming
almost
into a
saying you
game.
could use this as a single move and just use Dragon Claw and nothing else.
Yeah, or you could use Brick Break just to hit the steels and the Lapras, but it's not a massive issue because it's not what it's there for. It's there to beat the other dragons and the Galv because it's going to chunk away at the Galv.
Does it beat all the dragons?
Beat the best dragons. I think there's one dragon that loses.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm asking the question. I don't mean to.
No, I literally think it loses to Gudra, and that is it. But that was just me looking before the meta shifted, and about a week ago we first originally were going to do this.
Mm.
So I haven't actually looked for a while.
Doesn't beat Dragalge.
Interesting fact: with a 1-turn advantage, it beats Dragalge.
Oh, I'm not
They
checking.
managed to flip it in the ones.
Yeah, I'm not checking.
Yeah, check it. I was hoping someone was going to say that.
Yeah, it does beat all. It even beats Eggy the Punisher, which is quite impressive.
I knew I so wanted to talk about long-legged necky wecky. So Hackerman, right? I love Hackerman. It's
me
great.
too.
It's amazing. Would you run it as an ABB with Altari?
No, not with Altaria. So my team does have 2 dragons on it. The other second dragon is Gudra, but it also has a mon that is
A
not a
pseudo
dragon.
dragon.
Yeah, not a dragon. Runs a dragon move. So I'm going to annoy a lot of people this month with triple dragon moves.
And then you're going to face a team that's running Bronny, who's just going to use Charm and charm you out of the existence. Because
Yeah, you say that, but the rest of my team will cover that.
Kev's now thinking, I can use Bronny.
No, yeah, honestly, my win percentage when I'm using Charm is probably 0. I'm awful
So
with
what you're saying
Pokemon
is,
with Charm.
Kev, what you're saying is Mystic Gas.
No. His ability to just tap and tap like is so skillful that I can't reproduce it.
I know you'd probably just end up hating yourself or something like that, and yeah,
I do that anyway. I play Pokemon.
That's fired.
Yeah. So I've got Hakamo I haven't built. I chose at the time when it first came out to build a Komamo.
Yeah, the West one.
Mainly because close combat is actually a good move over Brick Break.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But I am led to believe that I made an error in that, and that Hakamo is superior just because I think it's got a better defense stat, if I'm correct.
Yeah, but if you end up leading your Como into the Hakamoa, you win CMP, so you win that matchup.
Not necessarily.
We can check this over.
I'm going to be completely wrong here, aren't I? But
You are.
I played with Komodo in Fighting Cup, and I lost every single CMP against Hakamo. Won every single CMP against Hakamo.
That you predicted it's going to be CMP.
That might be IV dependent. According to PV Poke, Hakamo wins every shield scenario.
What's the attack stat for them both?
The attack stat is 115.5 versus 123.7. So Komodo does have the higher attack stat, but it's got higher attack and defense. It's just got less stamina.
Are you taking that much extra damage from the Dragon Tails?
Yeah.
Evidently, yes. According to
It's a
this,
superior dragon.
according to this, you are losing.
Yeah, I'm not going off PV Poke. I'm going off actual in-game experience, and I've used it quite a lot.
Yeah,
So quite like it.
I'm pretty sure that like most of those matchups, the Como wins CMP, and they never shield the second one because no one ever wants to go 2 shields down.
Nobody's ever me. I'll shield the second one. I'll shield them all, Kevin.
I mean, just in the one shields, you lose. Just in the one shields, you lose. Doesn't even go to 2 shields.
Maybe that's why I did so well in Fighting Cup, because everyone I was playing was shit and just never shielded the first one. I definitely ran the Como in.
No, I'm literally looking at it now, and
yeah,
you die just as you hit the second Dragon Claw, and you both hit the second Dragon Claw, but you die. So unless you were going into it with a little bit of energy, I don't know, or
you'd need at least a 10 to flip it, I believe.
Yeah, maybe if they switch in, yeah.
Again, don't know.
Yeah. It's fun anyway. Como is
Como.
Hakamo's also fun. Como's cheaper to build.
Yeah. But they're not. Neither of them are fairly expensive, to be fair, in the grand scheme of things.
I think one of mine I caught was as at like CP11 or something.
Yeah, I've got to admit, my good one is like CP35 or something like that. And
I think that's the one I built. Yeah. So anyway, I'd be running it with. Well, I have been running it in practice with Melodic and Gudra, and I have been using Mew, but I've been running Dark Pulse on Mew.
You might not want to tell everyone every single strat you're using. Just a few of them.
Not going to change. So I'd like to pair as well, Galv. Especially the new Shadow Galv looks quite good. And I'm led to believe that even with the Shadow, Discharge and Lunge is still the way to go, and not Grass Knot.
Do you not feel Galv's sort of a substandard sort of electric type here when you've got Charge Bug, A2, Rotom Wash, and other things available to you?
See, I do, but then somebody decided that Charbug was their idea, and that was put me off it. So I think I'd rather just not run an electric type out of principle, because somebody, not naming no names, homeless twat, said it was their idea. Clearly, it wasn't.
I love Chargeable so much.
Yeah,
Callum, do you have anything to say before these two get into a lover's tiff and I get all jealous?
I think Hakamo will be solid here. I think one thing that will always let it down is the second move being Brick Break. But I think that's what kind of maybe keeps it in check and not becoming overpowered if it had something else close combat like its evolution does. Yeah, I think it'll be solid. Dragon Tail plus Dragon Claw will always be fairly solid. So.
You sounded a little bit depressed when you said the word brick break there.
Yeah.
It was that.
Yeah.
And it's got to move like brick break.
Yeah. But it's true though. It's just a disappointing move in this game. I think it would be interesting to know if going straight Dragon Claw against something like a Lapras or a Walrein, etc., is actually better.
It doesn't help. Literally every shield scenario, giving yourself even 3 times advantage over a Lapras still comes in and just beat you.
Yeah,
just for more like what would actually provide more damage with Brick Break being very low sort of damage. Both of them have stab, so there's not even a difference there. It's just a super effective.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
Same damage, yeah.
Yeah, I've just looked at it there. Lapras comes out with the same at the end of it. So
right, Dragon Claw, good move. Brick Break, shit move. Doesn't matter which one you run, they do exactly the same amount of damage.
Yeah.
So is Brick Break really that bad?
Yes. Yes.
Because it has to be super effective to get the same damage output as a neutral Dragon Claw.
Yeah.
That's why it's bad.
That's why it's
bad.
If you
throw a Brick Break at Altaria, it's gonna fucking laugh at you.
Yeah, but if you can throw it at the steel types.
Yeah, that would be the only benefit to have a second move in it, is if you're up against something that resists the dragon.
But there will be steel types here.
Even then,
but
if you come up
out of
these
steel types, is there any that doesn't have resistance to fighting?
I haven't looked at. I actually haven't looked at the steel types.
Because you've got Bronzong, Steel Psychic.
Yeah, but if anyone runs Bronzong, they should just be booted from the cup.
Escav, Steel Bug.
Yeah, you've literally got to go down to Empoleon. That's the first one. So, and even after that, Metagross, Metang all also resist fighting.
I'm gonna go out
just throw it out there. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I reckon I know one person that will run Empoleon in the first tournament they do this month. So run Brick Break for when you face that person.
Are we not going to do naming and shaming?
But you're going to have, if you think you're going to have 2 moves anyway. If you've built it, you're going to have 2 moves, so it doesn't hurt to have Brick Break. You don't need it; doesn't hurt to have it.
That feels like a challenge. Like, can you go through the whole of February using only single moved Pokemon and like go positive in tournaments?
I think we've done it before. I'm going back to the early days and stuff like that when, we first started doing tournaments and things, and
I love it in auto rect when you get single move Pokemon because you've got no idea what move it's even going to have.
I know, it's terrifying and horrible at the same time. But we're going on tangents. Has anyone else got anything on Hakamo? Whoa. Because I don't really have that much because I've not really overly played with it. I do like the fact of getting some fighting coverage in here, though. If I am honest, I do think there is a place for punching stuff. And unless you're going to actually take up an entire slot from your group or from your 6 to fill that, it's nice to have as like a secondary move in. But we're going to move on to Callum and your pick.
Yes. Pokemon's already been mentioned, but it's Pokedex number 706, the Dragon Pokemon Goodra.
What?
Yeah, I compared to everybody else on the call here, I have less self-experience, but in my short time doing this, Goodra has been one of my favorite picks. I used it a lot last cycle in factions, in Primeval. Was good fun. I just like the pure dragon type, not being double weak to the ice. It's not quite as bulky as something like the Altaria, but I think that sort of helps it out there with Dragon. Breath again is as oppressive as Altaria's. And then Having the charge moves, I think you will always run Muddy Water Power Whip. Unfortunately, the other moves don't give you sort of any other sort of coverage in this meta. Although Draco Meteor and something might be quite fun. The baits with Muddy Water potentially getting the attack ball again, as I spoke earlier about Moonblast. I think that can sometimes flip something in your favor where it's not quite as good. Not that you should rely on that, but I just think it's solid. I think the Dragon Breath damage will always be good in whatever you're against, really. Shields wise, it does beat Altaria, but I'm probably going straight Muddy Water because you either want to throw some petals at the flying type or some water at the dragon type. Take your pick. Yeah, I just think it would be nice. I would probably pair it personally with another dragon, just as Jamie's mentioned there. Mine will probably be Altaria, using Altaria as a safe swap, and then potentially Gudra the closer, depending on how that matchup goes. I think the fact that it resists the electric types as well, things like Charge Bug, etc., won't want to come in on that as sort of freely as they might with an Altaria. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at with Gudra. It's good fun. I really enjoy it. It looks a bit derpy too, which is quite funny.
I really like Gudra. I really, really do. I've used it in a lot of different metas. As you said, Dragon Breath is impressive. It feels fun to use. I think I've said on previous chatting shits that one of the things that I like about Gudra is its sense of coverage. Yes, Muddy Water is rubbish. I mean, it is literally down there with one of the worst moves in the game. And before Kev says, you might get a debuff, you really ain't getting that debuff, mate. It's just not really happening at all. But it's a nice little bait, and having the power whip coverage again, if you're coming into a dodgy little matchup, so like a wall rain and things like that, being able to hit it with something that hurts on the way down is always very nice to have, I find. And I like both yours and Jamie's idea of running it with coverage. So the idea of running it with something maybe like a Milo Tech, which is gonna get, as you said, bring out the charger bugs and things like that out, and get them sort of out the way, is kind of nice. I do sort of like that. So I'm a big Gudra fan. I also think its consistency is good. Do you know what I mean? No matter what shield scenario you put it in, it's the same. It's
And see,
like
I do the
it
more with
wins
shields.
50% of the time, all the time. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Like I say, I think I like Gudra, but I like it with no shields. So I think it is a little bit one-dimensional because you need to hit the grass, not the power whip. Sorry, the muddy waters are going to do nothing. So people are expecting the power whip. So you are going to take shields, but they're expecting it. So you're building all that energy up, and unless you bait and then throw it afterwards, I think it's a little bit one-dimensional.
I mean,
But that's just my opinion.
do you not think you're using it's Dragon Breath is what you're getting really? Its moves are more, as I said, a coverage thing. It's Dragon Breath's really doing the damage out there.
Yeah, but if you want Dragon Breath damage, surely you just want Altaria.
Well, no, because Altaria is gonna struggle in other matchups, as we said before. You're gonna have the you double weak to ice.
Yeah. I like Gudra. I just think it's a bit one-dimensional. The
Fair
coverage
enough.
is great, but I think
It does
you're
get
gonna
some
get
nice
caught out.
wins in the zeros. I mean, you're beating Chargeable, you're beating Mew. Um, I know you're not really going to see the Mud Boys here, but you are beating the Mud Boys. You're beating the Jellicents, Empoleon, Dragalge, Kingdra. Uh, you're doing okay in the zeros here.
See, I think you will see Mud Boys.
Do you?
Yep. I think you'll see definitely one because people can't help themselves. And every time it's available, it will be used. And Big Daddy Cash is always about.
Do you know you beat Walrein in the Zeros?
Can you survive the Ice Shard?
Yeah.
You survive the Icosphere, and they have to respect the power of it because it will one shot after the Dragon Breath.
You survive it with 4 HP. And this is a dragon that can beat the Premier Ice type. Which
Yeah. See, that's like basically what I said. I like it with shields down. Shields down, then it's good. But like I say, with shields still in play, it's a bit one-dimensional. And I get what you're saying about the dragon breath damage, but just playing devil advocate.
And that's fine. That's what you need to have that other side of the argument. It can't just be all, oh, this is amazing and you should run this. I'm not saying it's perfect. I personally just find it really fun.
it's got a nice animation as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the little jump.
I think it just aesthetically it's quite pleasing in some way. And again, the coverage for me, I think I'd certainly like to experiment with charge moves as well, have a bit of fun, try and Draco something, because a Draco meter in Great League is massive. Sludge bombs a bit in this meta, but I think you'll always prefer Power Whip over that. I'm not necessarily saying that you'll need to always run the Muddy Water bait, but I think if you can get that bait, it's quite huge as well.
Kev, you've been
Quiet.
suspiciously quiet, yeah.
Firstly, I've just looked. It loses to Altaria in all shield scenarios. It does not beat Altaria.
I did think that, but
I was questioning it because I have it on my list of things Altaria wins.
Did I say it beat Altaria?
No, I think I did, but I thought I saw that it did.
Secondly,
is that IV dependent?
No, it absolutely gets mauled.
Yeah.
Absolutely gets mauled.
Oh, clearly, I misclicked when I was looking. Maybe I was looking at like the 1-0 or something ridiculous.
No. You still get mauled.
That's all right. No, because I'd questioned it because I was already wrong about where Altaria was ranked. And I was like, is my entire list just wrong?
If Gudra uses a shield and Altaria doesn't, it's a draw.
Fair. You might as well run Sliggoo at that point and just not bother evolving it.
I would do that.
Just use Gumi.
I would also do that as well.
Sliggoo has the advantages it's running Water Gun, so you get a different animation. I'm not. Do you know? I when it was released, I was so hyped for Gudra, and I went ham catching Gumi. Built it as soon as I could, and then realized that I actually really don't like it, and I don't like playing with it at all. And it's just a personal thing. I don't like it. I think there's a lot better dragons out there. I get why you might want the Power Whip here. It's not the dragon for me. It doesn't have wings, and it won't cuddle you if it loves you.
I've watched the anime. I think Gumi's like quite affectionate, really.
It's not the kind of affection that I want. I don't like my affection to be quite so sloppy and gloopy.
Take note, Jamie.
I was gonna quote other Callum, Welsh Callum here, but I think that's a little bit harsh, although it might actually be true. And just say that it is probably the shittest of all the dragons, in my opinion, apart from maybe Salamence, which is eligible for this meta.
I disagree. I think there's far shitter dragons. I think there's Shit of dragons.
It's like Jellicent though. I don't like Jellicent because I always lose with it. Whenever I've used Gudra, I always lose. So we don't click. Yeah, it's a me thing maybe rather than the Pokemon thing with Gudra.
I think that's probably the same for me on the opposite side. Whereas like my first like proper season of like cycle of factions, I used Gudra for maybe half of the weeks that I did in Primeval, and always found it to be a very good utility. Always did its job, whether that would be tanking a move or dishing out neutral dragon breaths and leaving my opponent's Pokemon in a position for me to farm down, gain energy advantage, or something like that. It always did a job for me. It might not have been the shining light of my team, but it enabled my other Pokemon to flourish.
I still can't get over what your dog sounds like, mate. I'm sorry. It's the most ridiculous thing that I can hear in the background is that snoring. It's just every time it does it, I'm just
I know.
sorry to get loose of the whole train of thought, but yeah.
I quite like it now. It's quite we get it like 8 times a week, so it's quite comforting to hear now.
It's quite soothing.
Yeah,
it's not too bad because I turned the mic sensitivity up to like high on this, so it's only when I'm talking that you should be able to hear it, which is a bit annoying because it's just going off like a foghorn at the minute.
I just had a little look. I was really hoping that Gudra was going to lose to Tyrant in the ones, but it only loses to Tyrant if you let them sneak a Dragon Tail, which is kind of annoying because I was
also love Tyrant, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that might be better with ancient power to throw rocks at the ice types rather than your grass, but apparently it kind of loses to the grass one anyway. So, damn.
Have we got anything else to say about Gudra? I'm just going to. Gudra's nice. Sparks Joy. It's got coverage. If you're going to go with the doubles dragon strat, it's a nice way to put it in there. It is good. It's probably not the superior dragon here, though.
No. We all know that. Come on.
Well, as we're talking about dragons, and you all seem to talk about dragons, I'm not going to talk about a dragon. I'm going to talk about a pseudo dragon. But it's something that, in my opinion, should be a dragon type because, well, how it looks and things like that, it just looks awesome. And it does do dragon coverage. And it beats all the motherfucking dragons. Every single one of them. Nothing touches it. And that is Pokedex number 249. It's the Guardian of the Sea. And it is Lugia. Anyone who's watched the back catalogue of the chatting shit knows I love a Lugia. I think it's awesome. It's a big old flying tank. It can take all the hits in the world. It hits like an absolute truck and it looks cool doing it. I went to town trying to get myself a Lugia. I did so many trades back in the day when you couldn't have one. Just to get myself a Lugia Great League. I've got several lucky Lugias just to try and get it. And I've got one that's not rubbish. And yeah, whenever I get a chance, I do try and use it. To give you an idea of the shield scenarios here, in just the meta, condensed meta alone, in zeros it's 52%, which is 20 wins. In ones it's 44%, 17 wins, and in the twos it's 44%. Going against everything, all Pokemon, it's 84 in the zeros, 74 in the ones, and 68 in the twos. So it is very much a zero shield mon. It's something that if you're going to lead squishy, use up your shields. It's something it's nice to have in the back. As I said, beats all the dragons, beats Buzzwole, beats Hypno, beats Greedent, and Greedent is possibly going to be the most picked mon, I think, this month. In the zeros, you're taking on Miltank, Escav, Galv, which is taking on Galv's good enough in itself. You know, I know it's like the fourth choice electric in this cup, but it's a flying type taking on an electric and winning is nice. You're beating DD. When I did a bit of research and a bit of deep diving, because I love a deep dive on Lugia, um, with one dragon tail advantage, you are suddenly picking up Chargerbug, Celio, and Snorlax. With two dragon tails, which I know it's hard to get two in, but you know, we're talking in the scenario where you've already taken down, you're at the no shields, you've come in, you've killed off their second mon, and so you've got a bit of energy there. You start taking up Mew, and you're at 81%. At three Dragon Tails, you are suddenly beating Bronzong and Walrein as well, with 92% of the meta. It's again zeros. So putting you in that scenario where you've come in and literally you're managing to three Dragon Tails, killed their last mon, they're coming in with the last mon, and you're in the zero scenario. If you, for some crazy reason, you've managed to get in five Dragon Tails, you beat everything apart from A2. Literally everything apart from A2. So again, put yourself in that scenario. I'm playing against Kev. I've beat his first mon. He's beat my second mon with his Altaria. I come in with my Lugia. I'm just hurting it. I've managed to get myself five Dragon Tails. It does not matter what he comes in with at that point. He's lost.
I'm running A2 in the back.
But that's how oppressive Dragon Tail is here. Dragon Tail, I know we were talking about before, Dragon Best being oppressive, but since they did that update which made Dragon Tail good, it hits like a wave. You know, where it's got just that power behind it. I know it takes time, but if you're got optimum move timing and things like that in play, you can put yourself in a very, very good position with it. So that's why I like Lugia, and I think it's in a zero scenario that I want to see it being played. Has anyone else got any ideas or feedback on the Guardian of the Sea?
What are you going to run with it?
Anything I freaking want, mate. No, Chargerbug, to be honest. I think Chargerbug's got a really nice place here. I do think it is the Premier Electric here. I think it's got a bit more tankiness to Galv, and I think if you are willing to invest shields in it, it does pay out dividends. So I would probably looking at a Lugia, running it with something like Chargerbug and potentially something like Miltank.
I was going to say, you want a normal type in the back of that, surely.
Yeah. I know Greedent seems to be the safer option. There's just something about others bouncing around as Miltank does its animation that sparks joy. I really want to make Miltank work here. But yeah, I'd be probably looking at in a line of three with Chargebug, Miltank maybe as a safe swap, and Lugia in the back just to clear anything else up.
Do you have one, Callum?
Lugia, I don't
Yeah.
think so. No, I don't think so.
Sort it out, man.
Jay,
Yeah, clearly.
have you got a great
Of course
league,
I have.
Lugia? Yeah.
Of course I have.
I just wondered, like, how many people will have a great league eligible one?
Anyone who's been playing for a long time will have one.
Yeah,
I mean,
you've got to remember, Kev. We were playing Ultra League and Great League before Silver was even a thing.
yeah.
I think
So
that's where my downfall is that I didn't start PvPing until obviously the Go Battle League came out. Didn't know anything about Sylph, so a lot of these older sort of Great League eligible Pokemon I either traded or got rid of because I'll never use this, and I'm like, crap.
It's a low CP. I don't want this. It's
This is a
crappy
crap
raves.
Pokemon, exactly. So, unfortunately, it does look quite interesting though, and I think the people not knowing how it sort of maneuvers and things like that. Only really knowing it from Master League, where it's super bulky, which it probably is still quite bulky down in Great League anyway. That could be quite interesting just to see the odd splash, 1 or 2 per tournament, probably.
You
Yeah.
can take like a dart pulse from a Spylus easily, just tank it and still keep going. That was the one beautiful thing. I can't remember what cup it was. I played against Toshi on his Toshi stream, and he tried dart pulsing me, and it just shrugged it off. Carried on, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
And in this meta, nothing wants to take an Aeroblast. Like nothing will ever want to take that move. Like it's ridiculous in Master League, let alone down here.
Catch the Aeroblast on your hip now, guys.
So
Use it as a sponge. I think it loses to one of the dragons in the one shields. Maybe the zeros as well.
I don't think it does.
Does it not lose to Tyrant with Ancient Power?
Are we talking about if it gets the boost?
I don't know. I was looking at Tyrant when the meta was first announced, and I seem to remember Tyrant won it.
I'm looking now. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I hadn't really thought about Tyrant.
Because it's shit.
I love Tyrant. Love it. I might be wrong. I thought it won against all the flyers I could find.
I can't even find Tyrant on the list.
Tyrant beats it in the ones only, and that's with a Dragon Claw bait, if you want to call it that.
Okay, yeah.
And then Ancient Powering, and you apparently survive on 2 HP. So.
Okay, so it does. It's yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say that's it winning.
I just see.
Texas wins weight and get them.
Yeah, I do. It's true. I'm winning in life, if not winning in Pokemon, so it's fine. Yeah, I just from when I was looking before and looking at Tyrant versus Flyers, because I was kind of planning on maybe picking a Tyrant when it first came out, but was announced. But yeah, I didn't realize it was that close. Do you say it lives with 2?
2 HP, yeah.
So if you're not running a very, very, very good ranked Tyrant,
yeah, you're screwed. Yeah,
you're screwed. You lose.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and that's only in the one shields.
Only in the ones, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it beat most of the Flyers. Tyrant beat most of the Flyers in the zeros as well.
But who's running freaking Tyrant? Seriously, who's running it? And he's like down there for me. We're all in different positions. Who's running it? And I've said this now, when you're going to run it and Jan's going to run it, and there'll be a whole host of other people who run it. I don't even have one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, I've picked Altaria to talk about here.
That's because you're a meta bitch.
Yeah, you know full well that when the tournament starts on the 6th, 5th, 6th.
That's SBL's tournament. You can find us on the SBL Twitter, the SBL Instagram, Twitch, and the YouTube Discord.
Yeah, it's the place to be. It is. You know, there's going to be something fucking random in there. There just always will be. It may well be a Tyrant, although it's kind of not random now. I just told everyone, so I'm going to have to go back to that.
I mean, I'll be honest. It's a 7-round tournament with how many players in it? 75 plus players will be in it, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a little bit of random in there. It will do. I don't think Tyrant's good here. I think it'll get busted by quite a lot of stuff. But you know what? Yes, it could beat Lugia.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah,
in your opinion, fun and fun are actually different.
Lugia is really fun.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Kev, if we see more Tyrant than we do a Lumber, I'll eat my hat.
Oh, Jamie, don't. Why do you want to eat a hat?
How many
Do you know though? Do you know if you are running hydro pump Lugia, you lose. Tyrant loses. And Lugia has 25 HP left. If you're running hydro pump.
That's fine. I will accept that. Mine is actually running hydro pump.
Spend an elite TM, you scrub.
You've got about 40 at this point, money
I
bags.
have 26, thank you. I think.
Do you have more elite TMs than me?
He's Mr. Moneybags,
I
to
have
be honest.
19 fast and 25 charged.
Now I feel bad.
How many do you have?
Me.
0 and 0.
0 and 0,
Okay.
yeah.
Jamie
But-
runs off 600 bag space, mate. I'm shocked he's got balls.
Another funny thing, Dan did have 26 till I elite TM something and traded it.
Did you? What did you elite TM?
I'll tell you after.
He's given himself a Reggie Steele for Great League, hasn't
The revelations on chat shit.
he? Come on, you got to tell
Although
us.
we don't do account sharing at all, it's because we share the phone.
Yeah.
Don't do account sharing.
Yeah, I mean, it's what happens when you leave your phone on the table when you go for a piss in the pub, right?
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when we live 200 miles away from each other.
Meet in the middle for a drink.
You've got to make the most of that meet, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to make the most of it and use up Dan's elite TMs. Yeah, I'm not telling you how many elite TMs I have.
Oh.
I don't want to see a grown Dan cry.
You've got more than me. Have you got 26?
24 and 28.
24 and 28?
Yeah,
28 charged?
yeah.
Wow.
Honestly,
fair,
he's bloody
I-
Scrooge of the Pokemon community. Doesn't spend anything. Dust, PMs, elite TMs.
I can't
Nothing.
use them. I can't use them. I just
It's
can't
because
bring
he buys
myself to
them.
do it. No, well, yes, but you see, there was that thing with the box, wasn't there, that you were only allowed to buy one off,
Yeah, and you bought like 5.
but they fucked it up for 24 hours. So the really cheap box that had lots of elite TMs in that you could only buy one off, but you could actually buy as many as you wanted.
And how many did you buy?
All of my coins.
How many coins did you have?
I have no idea. Was it around Christmas time? Was it just after Christmas? Or just after my birthday? It was just after Christmas or my birthday, probably a lot because I got a gift card.
Are you sure it wasn't after you'd won second in Eurovision? When you were rolling in it?
Yeah. It
And that
could have been
you
that
were
I'm
as
a
well.
spaceman.
Could have been
I
that
thought
as
you
well.
were saying he looked like what's it called? The Greece woman with the beard.
Conchita.
Conchita Wurst.
No, but that works as well.
Thanks.
To think he died on the cross for your sins, Jamie.
Just keep the abuse coming. Keep the abuse coming because after this, I'm just going to go and cry on Hannah's shoulder and
It's all right. Can I just
look
point
for
out
some sympathy and
why
affection.
why are the sides of your headphones like got the most amount of disco lights on them?
I heckin' love disco lights.
RGB is cool.
They match the ones inside the box of my PC as well. They did match the ones on the keyboard, but the keyboard broke, so now I'm on an old shitty keyboard.
Kev, can I just put this in there or people will be disappointed? No one cares.
But what they do care about is Lugia. Jamie, I know you've got a Lugia. Have you looked or thought about it?
I haven't used it. I looked at it. But again, I'm a scrub and I don't have the Aeroblast on it because mine is old.
Mm.
So I think it's literally got Sky Attack and
Hydro.
Hydro. Yeah. So it's that old. So
I think that's
I
the way
mean-
to go. That's
I
what
would,
mine
I would,
says.
I would still be tempted to look at that. I don't even think that that's horrendous.
I think the sky attack, to be honest, is doing most of the damage for you.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to bait the aeroblast. If you are in a non-shield scenario, I do think the power of Lugia is in the zeros. I was just meaning with you looking at Milotic, this might have been a nice little side grade for you that stands up a little bit better to the electrics. For all you'd think Lugia would lose, it because of its bulk, it actually stands up quite well. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I am quite wary that I will see a lot of Mud Boys. I do think Mud Boys will be big. And I wasn't aware that Lugia beat the Mud Boys.
Yeah, beats the ground, flies.
It beats my number one pick, the first Pokemon I'm putting on my team as well,
You.
which has a 1-turn fast move, as long as it, 1 turn flips it. And you have to land an Aeroblast.
I'm curious what Pokemon that is.
I can't tell you. It's Genesect, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Genesect is like, it's happening. Its time is now.
Kevin?
Yeah.
No.
Jamie, X scissor.
No.
How many X scissors, Jamie?
No.
if you let
Punch will be done.
Genesect leave a matchup with 100 energy and then come back in at the end when shields are down, it wrecks.
It does. I can attest.
It's so much fun. It's
Going
not
on-
any of the Pokemon we talked about though, but it is
Look-
fun.
Going on random tangents. So we've given everyone a lot of thoughts on dragons. I don't think any of us shares an opinion of what the best dragon is. Do we? Even though the answer is Altaria, really?
No.
Is Mega Salamence eligible?
No, Megas
No.
are not eligible.
That's a shame.
So I don't think Megas will ever be available in regular Sylph, to be honest. Until Wave 3, when Master League is available.
Do you know when Megas are eligible, Kev? In the SPL
GBL.
Zoo.
Are Megas eligible in Zoo?
They are.
Mega Beedrill.
Mega
Coming at you.
Salamence.
Right. Before we all get horny talking about SBL's custom meta, which is starting this month, which you can check out on our Twitter, we're going to call it a night. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you all again. And yeah, stay
Thank you very
safe.
much.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us again.
Shut up, Matt. Shut up,